Well, hello there and welcome back to his F1 2020 My Team career mode as I try to bring some glory to the Minardi team on its return to F1. We're at round 8 at the Les Castellets circuit, also known as the Paul Ricard circuit in France, for round 8 of 16, halfway point of the season. You can see they're looking at the weather. It's going to be a wet race. That's killed my spirit straight away, but okay, never mind. We'll have to focus on a wet setup then, really, going into the race, because that's where all the points and prizes are earned. So messages in, weekend preview and the weather forecast. Okay, slightly better. It's going to start off in intermediate conditions and then get progressively drier as the race goes on. So it's not a full wet race, so my spirits have been lifted somewhat. So a rivalry then with George Russell. One race weekend remaining, 23 to 18. Pretty much finished the race, and we'll finish qualifying in the race, and we should be able to secure that one. Driver details for me: 12 points in total, average finish of P15, average grid of 18. We've driven 344 laps, nearly 1,200 miles. So the performance end of the R&D, we'll be looking at this after this weekend. The durability department has a bit of morale at the moment. We've also had a couple of things put onto the car, so nothing in progress. As for our progress history then, so one thing on the durability department and the aerodynamic, the upgrade, the minor upgrade for the rear wing main plane obviously has been put onto the car, if you saw at the end of the previous episode. As for other teams, looks like Ferrari and Mercedes have had a slight upgrade. Racing Point have bridged a bit of a gap now to the rest of the midfield. Alfa Romeo are getting involved in it, and big upgrades from Renault, AlphaTauri and the Haas team as well. We've had a little upgrade, same for Williams as well. So yeah, we could be battling the Williams cars more and more often now. As you can see that from Haas on the way up, there's a bit of a gap. As for our units, units number 1 I'll use in FP1, so I will make the change before I go to the track. Units number 2 will carry on from FP2 all the way through the weekend. But the turbocharger, 58% already. We're going to have to move on to unit number 3 at some point, and I think as well, unfortunately, we're going to have to order some new units and take a grid penalty. Gearbox, then for the practice gearbox, 19%. We will order a new one now. Once it hits about, I'd say 20%, you might as well just order a new one. You could order a new one every weekend. It costs nothing. Well, I don't think it costs anything to the team, but we don't get any penalties for it. As for the event gearbox, the one that does cost us penalties, 12% after one of the 6 race weekends. So we seem to be a bit okay on that time, or on that gearbox this time around. The weekend tyre allocation, for the first time, I've gone for a balanced setup. So we can do a bit of running on the hard and medium tyres, which I'm going to need now that obviously the weather is going to be a bit wet at the start of the race, and also it gives us a second set of medium tyres. Now, looking at the race, you could think that maybe the first third of it will be wet, and then maybe we can do medium to the end as well. So yeah, I'm basically saving a set of medium tyres going into the race. As for the standings, obviously remaining 13th place, the team is in 9th. Season results you can see there. Nothing glorious really from us, apart from obviously the Dutch Grand Prix and the Spanish Grand Prix. Everything else has sort of been towards the back of the field, as you would expect. Trophies as well, nothing fantastic there. So we'll advance into FP1, which I'll do off camera. Try and find a bit of a setup. We'll probably work on a dry setup, really, considering the race is going to start wet but get dry pretty quickly. So yeah, I'll be back with you guys at the end of FP1 for the full roundup of the classification and let you know how things have gone. So FP1 ends, Bottas was fastest at 32.472, just a few hundredths ahead of Leclerc. Hamilton back in 3rd place. These are the rest of the runners. Pretty much everyone set their fastest lap on the medium tyres. Kvyat in 17th was on the hards. We ended the session in last, half a second away from Latifi and 1.3 away from Giotto. I'm not too worried about that. You can see there, first and foremost, we were using the hard tyres. Secondly, we was using the old units number 1 for everything, so we were massively down on power everywhere. And this was basically just a glorified test session for me. I did 11 laps on those hard tyres, went out, did 11 laps, came back in the pits, and that was the session over for me. To kind of work out, really, I think maybe 21 laps might be, I'm guessing at 20 laps we run in the dry. We did 11 laps, and the tyre wear balance that I've got with the pressures and everything else I'm doing on circuit is sort of even. The front left is the highest, which makes a surprise considering that usually it's the rear left that will go first on the clockwise circuit, but they're within a couple of percent of each other. And the front left ended on 39% after 11 laps. So you think 22 laps is going to be, 78%, which is pushing it a little bit. But I think that there'll be no more than 20 laps run in the dry. So it could be a possibility, looking ahead already to the race at FP1, that we'll do a stint on the intermediate tyres in the rain. And then we'll make the change possibly onto the hard tyres and carry them to the end of the race. Now that could be a master stroke. People might go mediums or softs or whatever and have to make a pit stop. But the pit lane here is quite long, and it's I think a 38 mile an hour rather than 50, so you lose quite a bit of time in the pit lane. So I'm looking at a race strategy where we do the initial stint on the intermediate tyres or wet tyres, whatever they'll be. And then when we all pit for the dry tyres early enough, we can put on a set of hard tyres and get ourselves comfortably to the end. And the reason for that is maybe we can gain a couple of extra positions. So it's a complete unrepresentable lap time. Pay no attention to it whatsoever. I was literally out there on a tyre wear test for the hard tyres. But we will make the change onto units number 2 for FP2. And we'll start running the mediums and the softs, try to get some practice programs done to increase our resource point score. But I'm not bothered by the lap time in the slightest. I'm more bothered by the tyre wear rate, and it seems okay, to be honest, on the hard tyres. So that gives us good scope going into the race with the strategy for that. So I'll advance now to FP2, and I'll see you for the final classification once that session ends and give you another update. So FP2 ends with Hamilton being the fastest at 1:31.266, 3 and a bit tenths ahead of Bottas. And you can see there that Giotto and ourselves were 10th and 11th. I'm not too sure how Giotto managed to pull that lap time out of the bag. Maybe he knows his drive is pretty much done with at this point and he wants a quick shot at glory before he's kicked out of our team. We was 11th. That was due to the qualifying practice program, which is a bit weird, which I'll explain in a second. So lap times are, and I'll keep using this word, but unrepresentable, because you can see there's some drivers in the mediums, the hards and the softs. So the practice programs that we managed to complete, I went all out in FP2 with units number 2 on board. The track acclimatization we managed to do in purple. Same for the tyre wear management program, the fuel management program and the ERS management program. Now for the qualifying pace one, I gave it a go towards the very end of the session, which is why we're up in P11, having used obviously rich mix fuel and ERS mode hot lap, as you would be in qualifying anyway. I crossed the line with about 3 tenths in the green and it gave me a red. This isn't a gripe, or it is a bit of a gripe to be honest with you, but this isn't uncommon. I've been seeing people on YouTube and specifically on Twitter as well, where they've crossed the line 2, 3, 4 tenths to the good and whatever, and then for whatever reason it hasn't counted, or it's like knocked several tenths off for whatever reason. That's pretty much happened to me as well. I mean, I came out the final corner and I was 3.5 tenths up and increasing on that going to the line, and it gave me a delta time of about a tenth slower than what I needed to do just to get green. So bit upset about that, a bit annoyed, but we've managed to do 4 of the practice programs in purple, and we'll advance now to FP3, and I'll show you a bit of footage from that, and we'll get the race strategy program done. I believe I have a set of mediums that can be available for that as well. But overall I'm quite happy with the balance of the car. Tyre wear, it's a bit high on the softs, but it's good in the hards, which is what I'm looking for towards the race. So basically FP2 was all about trying to get as many practice programs done as possible, which we managed to do and gain plenty of resource points. So at the workstation then, before we go into FP3, just a quick 30-minute session here. I have changed over to units number 3, fresh units number 3 for the ICE, the MGU-K, MGU-H and the turbocharger. So we'll still be running the unit number 2 for the energy store, 43% on that, the electronics at 30%, because these are now starting to get a bit too high for my liking, 54%, 56, 57, and the turbocharger at 63. We're going to be quite down on power going into the important final practice session qualifying and the race. So it's getting closer and closer to the time when we're going to have to start ordering some new parts. Yeah, other than that, nothing else has really changed. You can see the rivalry there. 1 weekend remaining. We're 5 points ahead of Russell. So we've almost done that, which will improve our acclaim somewhat. But we won't worry about that now. We will worry about FP3. So we'll go to the session, get out there, do some laps. So just under 20 minutes of this 30-minute session left. You can see there, these are all of the practice programs that we've managed to do. I'm not going to give a qualifying pace one a go because I've got a used set of softs and a fresh set of mediums. So we'll have a look at the race strategy program. If we manage to complete that, that'll be another 50 resource points. So it'll be a very profitable 3 practice sessions that we've had. The car setup then, don't know about the fuel really. Aero running 6.8 on the wings, transmission 60-60. Suspension and geometry, 4 clicks for the camber and 4 for the toe with opposite direction. Suspension 556644. Brakes 154 as I usually have. Tyre pressures I've also knocked down a little bit as well. Yeah, it seems pretty even to be honest. I think the front left is the worst, but over a like I said, over a 10 or 11 lap period that I did on the hard tyres, it was fairly balanced. And I'm happy with it. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of focus was on the hard tyres. Obviously, with the rain at the beginning of the race, the power units, go there, these will all be updated once we leave the garage. So lap times then, a lot of people on the softs are doing qualifying runs. We're going to be on the mediums doing our race sim, if you like. So we'll select the race strategy. You can see there we've got a set of mediums that are fresh, softs, not really. So we'll be doing the mediums, and we'll drive out of the garage now. Give you a quick tour of the Paul Ricard circuit, which is quite, it's not a bad circuit really. I quite enjoy it. You can hook up a nice lap, you feel rewarded, but for its characteristics, it's rather bland. It's all just tarmac runoff areas. So we'll take the limiter off, out of the pit lane, straight onto the racing line for turn 1, which is a bit of a worry. Have to be wary of that in the race and in qualifying as well. Cars coming out of the pit lane. Got a Mercedes behind me, so we'll just pull over to the side. And we allow Hamilton through. So the units then now on the car, as you can see there, the electronic system and the ES and CE. So what? Control electronics is CE. What's ES? Energy store. That's it. Yeah. So energy store and electronics are on the second units. We only have 2 of them, which is why the percentage is a bit high. All the others are onto the third and final units for them. So it's not too bad really. Gearbox at 12% as well. So 2 DRS zones. This is, if you like, the second one down the Mistral Straight. Split up with this chicane. You can see there all the different tarmac runoff areas and different lines. Apparently this circuit's got something like 172 different configurations, which is a bit mad. It'd be nice if we had the Mistral Straight just as one long straight like it used to be back in the 80s and early 90s. This corner here, flat out. Don't know what it's going to be like in the wet. We'll find out in the race. And this part of the circuit is quite fun, I feel, if you manage to hook it up nicely. We'll obviously be going through it a lot faster. This corner as well, it's a late apex in, so you hold it, and then turn in. Just kiss it there, and then allow the car to run wide. We've got a Renault behind us, so allow him through. Ricardo. And a new pit lane here, of course. There it is on the right-hand side. You can see drifting off over to the right, where before it used to be on the exit of the final corner. And here we go then, 5 laps. Let's try and get purple. Just going up to the line now. We're well inside the delta. And it should be purple. Indeed it is. We'll complete the final 2 laps anyway. But that is the 5th and final practice program done in purple. So very profitable so far this weekend in terms of resource points. Car feels okay, tyres feel okay, I feel okay. So it's, yeah, been good. So just over 6 minutes left of the session. There we are at the bottom. Ocon He's yet to put in a fast lap, but I believe he is just about to. We're technically last, if you like, about 6 tenths off of Latifi, 7 tenths off of Russell, and just over a second away from Giotto. But they're all on soft tyres and doing qualifying runs. I was on sort of a medium fuel mix on the medium tyres, doing the race strategy program. So lap times are irrelevant, if you like, or unrepresentable is the word I seem to keep using. I'm pretty confident that we could have been at least a second quicker, maybe even more, if it was on the soft tyres and on a low fuel load, I should say. So I won't go out again. Tyre wear was okay. We did 5 laps, but it was 6 in total really for the outlap as well. Tyre wear was sort of in the mid-20s for all 4 tyres, so it'd be like 50% if you like after 12 racing laps, so that's not too bad going ahead into qualifying and the race. Yeah, it seemed okay. I had no dramas. I was able to complete each lap well within inside the delta, had no issues whatsoever, and it's been a very good 3 practice sessions. So Vettel was fastest in a 31.406. Fair play to Giovinazzi. Somehow he's managed to get up into P2 ahead of Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc in 5th. Both the racing points up there as well. Red Bulls were down a bit. Verstappen 11th on the medium tyres, but Albon was 12th on the softs. Further down as well, Giotto was in 18th place ahead of Grosjean. So fair enough. This is almost, like I said, going to be Giotto's final race, as we're going to make moves on Nick De Vries after this. So maybe Giotto's trying to put in some sort of performance before we unfortunately kick him out the door. So Grosjean 19th, Russell 20th, Latifi 21st, and we was at the bottom. But still a good session. I completed what I needed to do, and we can advance now into qualifying. So the resource point said quite a lot claimed by myself, Giotto as well, to be honest. Puts us up to 1,732, so that's nice. Team acclaim, 12% for me, 14% actually now level 7. So we're the same for Giotto, 28 combined. As you can see, the 28% doesn't really go up even a quarter anymore now. We're level 10, but we're now the same acclaim as Giotto, and I think we have a higher acclaim than Nick De Vries as well, if we manage to get him in. So yeah, we're still improving on this one. Everything is good. So back at the workstation as we prepare for qualifying. Messages then, some information there about the circuit. The weather forecast hasn't changed. It's still going to be a bit wet at the start. I mean, two of the windows there, if you like, have got what looks like intermediate weather. So it could be about, I don't know, 8 or 9 laps in the race before we have to think about making a change to the dry tyres. We'll just have to see how it goes, really. Simple as that. How many laps is it in total? 27 laps. I'm confident we can do intermediates onto hard tyres. Or if we're feeling a bit brave, maybe do medium softs. I don't know. But anyway, we'll go to qualifying, and we'll try and secure a decent position on the grid. So it's just over a minute into the qualifying session. You can see there's a handful of cars out on the circuit. 3 sets of soft tyres, which I will use. And then that will save us a set of mediums going into the race. So into the race, we should have 2 sets of mediums, a set of softs, and a set of hard tyres. I certainly hope so anyway. As for the wet running, we'll have plenty of intermediates and wets, as you would expect, for the start of the race. But obviously we'll be doing the qualifying on these soft tyres. So we'll get out on circuit now. Part Firm 8 regulation rules into effect, and we'll drive out of the garage. At the end of the pit lane, of course. I don't know whether, if let's say at the end of the season we finish, let's say 6th in the constructor standings, which isn't going to happen, but you never know. If then it moves us sort of further up the pit lane to be in the middle, I think that'd be quite cool, but I don't think that will happen, unfortunately. So blast out onto the circuit on the soft tyres. But we will take it easy on our outlap. Open DRS up to the line. It's going to be a 31, I think. Yeah, it is. It's a 31.6. So we'll allow Russell through, and he's polite enough to get out of our way, just about. So we'll do the same to him. So I'm not too sure where that puts us. Still very early in the session. Still though, 31.6, I'm sure we can improve. Oh, what is the AI doing? I really don't like it when they do that. I'm going slow. Oh my god, he nearly took my bloody wheel off. Anyway, slow tour back to the pits, see where we are compared to everyone else around us. So just over 10 minutes left of the session. We'll probably go out in about a minute. I'm expecting most of these cars to be back into the pits and hopefully give us our obligatory middle of the session quiet track. Jeff just telling me what my fastest lap time is. So we'll have a scroll down. Ooh, 15th. Not bad. There's still some people who get to set lap times, but we're ahead of Russell by a couple of tenths. Ahead of Giotto by almost a second and well ahead of Latifi. So yeah, we do have good pace. And let's have a look at Raikkonen then. So, oh my God, we're 6 tenths down in Sector 1, but we're 3 tenths up in Sector 3. Our Sector 3 time is good, to be honest. A 40.2 puts us, well, pretty much we're even quicker than Ricardo. So that's good. We're good in Sector 3. Sector 2 we're sort of average and where we're expected to be. Losing a bit of time in Sector 1. I do struggle with that slow section there towards the end of Sector 1 leading on to the Mistral Straight. So it's obviously an area that I do need to improve. I've made a change already onto a second set of soft tyres. The beeping you can probably hear and it's loud in my left ear. I don't know if it's loud for you guys or if it's pretty quiet. That's basically an audible noise that most circuits have at the entrance to a pit lane. Basically you hear that noise and it means make sure you're clear of the pit lane. There's a car coming into the pit lane so you don't get run over. We did have a bit of extra fuel, not too sure why. So we'll have a look now. The track is starting to slowly close, not close down, but get quiet. We've got Latifi, Sainz, Norris, Kvyat and Giovinazzi, who I probably believe are all on in-laps. Let's have a look. They are indeed all on in-laps. So this is a good opportunity for us then to get back out on circuit for our second run. And hopefully can improve our lap time by a couple of tenths. It's a better lap, almost for half a second up. Puts us into P17 ahead of Kvyat and Raikkonen. So 3 minutes left of the session. Vettel is either on a hot lap or about to come back into the pits. There are engines firing into life around me, and you can see on the track map there some people are now starting to leave the pit lane. So we'll put on another set of soft tyres. 31.1 is pretty good. Oh, we're very close. Look at that. Oh, if we found like 300ths of a second, we would have been up into P14. Look at that. And just over a tenth would have been P13. So we're really close to some of these guys. You can see our Sector 3 time is very good. Sector 2 as well amongst these guys. Still down a little bit in Sector 1. But we're well clear of these three at the back as well. So yeah, that's good. It's looking pretty good so far. And yeah, so we'll exit this. And we'll go back out into the garage. Yeah, I was disappointed in that final one. I don't need to point out where I made the glaring mistakes, but if you did somehow miss it, it was coming onto the Mistral Straight, went wide off the circuit, and then also that chicane as well went just a bit too deep there, which gave us a bit of an acute tight line into the second half of that chicane. But we finished the lap, I think, 300ths down on our previous best, so if we managed to sort that out a little bit, we could have found that couple of attempts, but still disappointing anyway to blow it at the end, but still a good session anyway. So Hamilton pole, nearly 4 tenths ahead of Vettel. Albon up into third, Bottas, Leclerc, Verstappen completing the top 6 for the big 3 teams. I mean, it's Racing Point, McLaren, Renault, a Racing Point inside the top 10. We scroll down, you'll find ourselves in P19 then, our familiar P19. If we'd have found them 2 tenths in that previous lap, we would have got P16 ahead of Kvyat, Raikkonen and Magnussen. So we are on the back of the midfield, which is good. We're 4 tenths clear of Russell. We're 1.4 clear of Giotto and 1.5, nearly 1.6 clear of Latifi as well. So I don't think we have to worry about these guys too much, but we've got an opportunity here to battle the midfield cars. Of course, the start of the race is going to be wet, so we need to keep that clean and hopefully hook up the car nicely in the wet conditions, and then obviously decide when and what tyres to choose onto when it does get dry. So it's going to be an interesting race. But as for qualifying, yeah, P19, slightly disappointed really. If we'd known that final lap, we would have been up here somewhere. But still, we've got good pace in the car and I'm feeling confident. So the rivalry breakdown then 2-1 against George Russell. That's Russell. That's all but pretty much confirmed that we are going to be beating him with 6 points clear. I think the best he can do is outscore us by 4. 14% for my team McLean. Same for Giotto as well. 28 combined. You can see now a level 10. It really doesn't move up that much. So we're going to find that we're going tough from here now onwards. But it's just going to be a case of slowly chip away rather than fly through the lower levels. So at the workstation then, before the all-important race event, Got some messages at Jeff from the pre-race. You know how I usually advise caution on what one? No heroics, don't damage a car. Some stupid pun about carbon fibre. Well, I've been thinking maybe we should go for some heroics this time. Sometimes it's good to mix things up with a bit of aggression, you know what I mean? Let's get in those gaps and make sure the rest of the field knows you're no pushover. Give me 100% and have a great race. Yeah, I'm not exactly going to send it up the inside into every corner, Jeff. Certainly at the start of the race with that rain that we can see there. We'll have a look at the units anyway, although there's nothing we can really do. Everything seems okay. 434%. Hopefully with some more durability work that we've been doing recently, and we'll continue to do so really, these units will get worse at a slower rate, hopefully, but I think we're going to have to take a penalty at some point, as most people will be doing. Gearbox then, 15% halfway through the second of 6 weekends, so all that is fine as well. So nothing else really to look at. The rivalry there we can see we've pretty much done that now, so that'll be good for our acclaim. So we'll go to the grid, we'll have a look at the race build up, see if anyone has any penalties out there, and then have a look at the race strategy.
Hello and welcome to the Circuit Paul Ricard, current home of the French Grand Prix, an event dating all the way back to 1906. It's been held at many venues over the years, with famous moments from Dijon and Manicourt the feature of many a highlights reel. And let's hope we see more of those in the race today. We have 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. The rain is coming down and making for a slippery racing surface, but luckily there is plenty of runoff available, and hopefully we'll be able to avoid bringing out a safety car during today's Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk briefly about Esteban Ocon. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Bottas, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Perez, Norris, Stroll and Pierre Gasly, Sainz, Ricciardo, Antonio Giovinazzi and Grosjean, Magnussen, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat and Lee, Ocon, Russell, Giotto and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So, grid penalties out there, promotes us up into P18, which is nice. You can see that it is intermediate running. Yeah, strategy means nothing really, to be honest with you. It's intermediate for the whole race, but we know it's going to run out. We will bump up the fuel to 3 laps actually. We seem to use quite a lot of fuel in wet weather running. Yeah, basically it's just a case of just drive until it's dry, basically. Drive until it's dry. Wow, 3-stop race. My God, imagine doing a 3-stop race. Man, apparently the intermediates only last 9 laps around here. That is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, okay. There's nothing else we can really do. So we'll start the formation lap. And have some fun out there. God, a wheel spin.
Good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
So we've done very little wet weather running, to be honest with you. I don't really go out in the practice sessions if it's wet, if I know that qualifying and race is going to be dry. We had a few laps towards the end at Canada. So this is going to be interesting to see if we have decent pace. Some games in the past, I remember F1... I think it was 2017 when I took up the Sauber career mode. Whenever it was wet I was excited because it was always better than the AI. From what I've heard, the AI is a bit OP. Unfairly so in transitional conditions, so that's when it goes from dry to wet or wet to dry. So it'll be imperative to nail it. As soon as it's dry enough, get in the pits. We saw in the last episode in Canada we was very close to the pit lane when it was time to make the change, and we gained a few positions by doing that and a lot of race time. I think it was about 6 laps over 6 seconds in 1 lap over Latifi, for example. So That was lucky for us. Hopefully we get the same luck here as well. We'll bump the front brake bias up to 57 in these conditions. Or is it rearward? I can't remember. Do you sort of put the brake bias a bit more rearward? I think you do in wet conditions, don't you? Because it was a bit too far forward. Try it on 52. So if it's a bit too far forward, then you're at risk of, well, not locking up because you're running ABS, but certainly understeering, which you'll get in these conditions anyway. So starting P18 at France, midway point of the season. Flying through this first season. And, what's the spray going to be like coming off of the grid? I reckon it's going to be a wall of nothing. And in a way, I'm kind of glad that I can see the player names, or the AI driver names, I should say, because at least I know where they are on circuit. So last car coming into position. Here we go. So here we go then. Not a bad start. Got to try and find a gap. It is oh, Ocon, get out of the way. Oh, hang it around the outside. Oh my god, there's crashings going on behind me. Oh, Raikkonen and Magnussen are touching each other inappropriately. Get off me, Kvyat. Could barely get the power down here. Have we got any damage? We don't. It's all kicking off behind me. Oh my god, and Kvyat there. Okay. P17, what's this corner going to be like? I reckon it's going to be pretty bad. Oh, we've got a failure. It's DRS failure. Okay, that's fine. Don't need that right now. Hopefully that sorts its shit out once we get to dry running. Oh, I can't say twitchy. Oh, I've been nudged. My god, the AI are aggressive. Get off my arse, please. Looks like we're going to be ending lap 1 anyway in 17th, so we've gained 2 positions. Okay, now we wait for the dry conditions. So into lap 3, looks like the rain is already starting to ease off. The sun is out and blinding me on the approach to turn 1. We're doing okay. The guys behind, all 5 of them are sort of, as you can see there. So we're just using our max ERS down the main straights, obviously, so we don't lose any positions. Does feel like the rain is not easing up just yet, but the sun is certainly starting to break its way through. We're worried about Kvyat behind. He seems to want to dive bomb me at every opportunity. But we're not like hemorrhaging lap times or anything like that, but we are obviously a little slower than is to be expected.
The feed track will be drying out quite soon. Mind you don't burn out your tyres.
Here comes Kvyat, flying past me. Nothing I can really do. Ocon's going to be an issue as well. Others are not. Oh, it's telling me intermediate tyres. That's a confusing one. How many drivers are going into the pits? Well, some are, some aren't. Okay, we'll carry on then.
Copy that.
Okay, so we're diving in the pits now. And dumbass here did pretty much the whole lap on ERS mode number 3 without realising it. So it looks like most people are going onto the soft tyres. We've selected the mediums. I think we might be rejoining towards the back though, unfortunately.
Go. Exit now. We're racing on the exit. Release. Release.
So I think we might be the only ones on the medium tyres. Indeed, we're out in P21. And now it's dry weather running. See what we can do with these medium tyres. There are some cars out there on the medium tyres, Kvyat being one of them, chased hard by Giotto, and we're catching a pair of them. Of course, we have two sets of medium tyres that we can use. So I'll probably look to push these medium tyres to about lap 14 maybe, 14, 15 if I can. And then make the change onto another set of mediums for the end of the race. Picking up DRS now. The rear wing issue has been fixed, which is good news. So into lap 8 now. This should be a personal best for us. Indeed it is, a 35.5. You can see there we're keeping up with these guys in front of us. But most importantly, our teammates on the soft tyres, and we're keeping up with him. We're keeping up with Kvyat on the medium tyres, same as us. And we're all catching Latifi, who's on the soft tyres. So we do have good pace here, actually, for the midfield. It'd be interesting as well when these soft runners pit and what tyres they go on. Part of me is hoping they all go onto the hard tyres, because we're definitely going to be doing medium. God, that was scary. Some drivers in the pits again. And Ricciardo going on to another set of soft tyres. That's a surprising call. So he's definitely going to have to stop again. Up to P19 now. Bizarre strategy calls out there. I won't hold up Ricciardo. I'm sort of hoping really he gets involved in Giotto and Kvyat and starts like annoying them a little bit.
We need to stay on form.
And Latifi and Giotto are now fighting. I need past Latifi as soon as. God, don't move around like that, Latifi. Jesus fuck, you scared me. So we're through. That's what we wanted, really. We wanted to get clear of Latifi. Giotto pulls off into the pit lane. More cars in the pits as well. Looks like a lot of them are making another change onto the soft tyres. Oh, this is going to get hairy into turn 1. Well, okay, we're too far back. That's fine. We want to ride a little bit. Perez on the hard tyres. He's planning on going into the end. So some of these guys have still got a pit. We still have to pit as well. So it's a very upside down race at the moment. There's different strategies flailing about all over the show. The trick for us really is to stay in DRS range of as many cars for as many laps as possible. We're feeling okay. Lap 11 of 27. Tyre wear is now creeping into the 30s. So we're looking okay for around about, I think maybe 14. So along the Mistral straight now, the first half of it, I've got Norris and Bottas behind, so I'm not going to hold up. They're on a relatively fresh set of soft tyres. I'm on a used set of mediums. There's a whole gaggle of cars up ahead of us as well. I think once we make our second pit stop here, we will probably fall towards the back of the field. I'm hoping if we can to be ahead of our teammate in both the Williams cars, and then I don't know if there's anyone else going to pit after that, we'll pick them off.
We want to pit this lap, so push now.
So it's lap 15 of 27. You can see there the pit window graphic came up on the right hand side. Stroll is now behind me. We're not a million miles away from this absolute clusterfuck of cars in front of me. There's like 8 cars in front of me, all on different strategies. Quite a few cars behind as well. I've already made a change onto a second set of soft tyres in the last couple of laps. There's no way they're going to be able to get to the end of those without putting on another set of tyres. So we could be looking at a fairly decent position here. Here comes Stroll though. Nothing I can really do against that. Well, let's call it a Mercedes. I think I pushed the tyres for another lap. We pitted, I can't remember when we pitted onto these. Lap 5, 6, something like that. You see where the tyre wear should be, it's okay. We'll definitely do another lap on these. Okay, into the pits now, end of lap 16. Slow down nicely. I have no idea where we will join. Quite a lot of people are coming into the pits. Oh, pit lane's busy. Some people are going onto the hards, the mediums, the softs. My God. It's been a bit of a nutty one, this. I won't lie. It's been quite fun to be punching above our weight.
Luca is in the pits. Luca in the pits. Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit. Exit. Exit now.
Out in P17. A lot of midfield, sorry, I should say medium runners by the looks of it. Same as us. We've got yellow flags out there. It looks like Ocon's just pulled off behind us actually. So that's one less driver that we have to worry about trying to get past us. Imagine if that brought out a safety car. Oh, I'll be straight in for a set of softs.
Safety car, safety
oh! Oh, it is a safety car.
Okay, slow down, slow down.
Oh wow, 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 wow.
Which means you are too fast. Reduce your pace.
Well, I'm straight in.
Understood, stopping this lap.
Got to, haven't you? You've got to come in for a set of soft tyres. Hope they're fresh. It might be a qualifying set, I don't know. Ah, we got nothing to lose. Okay, we're in now then for a set of soft tyres, a used set of soft tyres. We don't have any fresh ones, unfortunately, for whatever reason, which is a bit weird. So we'll probably rejoin, I think, in P19 maybe. So we've given away our track position to try and have a bit of fun towards the end.
Go now.
And indeed, it will be P19. We'll have a look at the tyre wear. Yeah, it's a qualifying set, but that's fine. We can take it easy on these laps behind the safety car. Save our ERS as well. Plenty of fuel. I think the safety car will probably be in at the end of lap 21 at the earliest. Probably lap 22. Which should give us a 5 or a 6 lap sprint.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags.
This could be fun.
In this lap.
And we're racing again. Oh, the cutback is deadly. Dive it up the inside. Fuck off, Magnussen.
Ahead is 1.5 seconds. Be aware, there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
There's yellow flags down here. I'm not too sure why.
Okay, some information on Perez. They're retiring from the race.
Well, that'd be why then. Perez is out.
Okay,
We're
clear.
right on the back of this midfield now. So into the final lap now. There's an old queue of cars here, and I can do nothing about it really.
Final lap of the race.
Tyres are starting to cry a little bit as well. It's just to be expected. Or it's going to get busy down at the chicane though. There's a glimmer of hope. Feeling a dive bomb at the final corner. Oh, oh we've done it! We've done it. We got back up P15. Get in there. So a very enjoyable race that was. I had a lot of fun in that. Overtaking cars and sort of battling for positions that we really shouldn't be. You can see there, some people did 2 stops, some people did 3. I was the only one to pit under the safety car, which I would have expected anyway, just for a bit of fun to go through. And the cheeky dive bomb on Stroll there at the final corner and got back off P15. I think we would have probably been P15 or maybe even slipped down a little bit. I think the decision to go on the soft tyres was the right choice. Yeah, a nice enjoyable race there around France. So Hamilton has won in half a second ahead of Vettel. Verstappen on the podium in third ahead of Albon, Leclerc, Sainz up into 6th. Bottas recovered through the field after making 3 stops into 7th. Giovinazzi picks up 4 points in 8th. Gasly and Ricciardo completes the top 10. Outside of it, Kvyat, Norris, Raikkonen and Grosjean ourselves in 15th, just about getting ahead of Stroll on the run to the line. We got past Magnussen early on after the safety car, which is why he dropped back. Russell, Giotto and Latifi were the final classified runners. Perez is classified though, 3 laps down. Ocon was the retirement that brought out the safety car. So have a look at the standings then. It's now the halfway point of the season, round 8 of 16. Hamilton leads 30 points ahead of Vettel, 31 ahead of Verstappen. Bottas and Leclerc a little bit of a way back, 50 points, and they're tied for 4th. Albon hanging on bravely in 6th on 83 points. And it's Sainz, Ocon, Kvyat and Gasly inside the top 10. We remain in 13th. No other movers or shakers, I don't think. So the constructors and Mercedes still hold on to their lead, 30 points ahead of Ferrari, who in turn are 8 ahead of Red Bull. McLaren consolidating their P4. AlphaTauri and Renault having a good battle for 5th and 6th. Alfa Romeo managed to get past Racing Point into 7th thanks to Giovinazzi's result. We hang on into 9th. Haas or Williams, neither of them scored as well. So 9th place is looking good for us so far as we reach the halfway point of the season. So the rivalry breakdown there, 4-2 against George Russell. Means that we do win that rivalry, get to 29-21, but that is now, I believe, all over and done with. 14% for myself and Giotto for the team acclaim, 28% combined. I had some interview questions there from Claire after the race, which affected my affinity, which is why for the first time I'm level with Giotto, because usually a little bit lower. Sponsors all completed that this weekend, all pretty easy to do so as well. Damage reductions 50k, not too sure what that's for actually, but never mind. So we gained nearly $1 million there, I think $800,000 it was over the course of the weekend. So yeah, up to 6.28 million now, which is nice. So here we are then back at the headquarters. There's only literally just a couple of days before we go to Austria. Which is a circuit I do enjoy, and it's now time for the contract renewal. So we can renegotiate with Giotto or go to the driver market, and we'll be going to the driver market. So where is Nick De Vries? We could probably try for another driver. We've got 6.2 million. In fact, the only one we could really do is Latifi. So we're going to be looking at Nick De Vries, who we've been watching. We'll compare his stats then. So he's getting close to being a level 6. We can also scroll through some of the other drivers as well. Yeah, so here's Nick De Vries. I don't know why we went on to Jack Aitken. So Nick De Vries is already halfway up level 6. You can see his rating is 6 better. Experience is the same. Racecraft is 3 points better. Awareness is 21 better. His pace is just 1 better. But I think then that Nick De Vries is the driver we really should be looking at. There's no one else that we could really go for. These guys down here are really not good enough. Mick Schumacher. I know a lot of people have taken Mick Schumacher on. As for other drivers, we don't have enough money to do anything mental really with some of these guys. So we will scroll back down to Nick De Vries, if we can find him somewhere. There he is. So yeah, his rating is, his rating's a lot better than Latifi's as well, and it's not that far away from Giovinazzi, just 4. I'm pretty sure that Nick De Vries is a driver we should approach. So drivers are motivated by more than just money.
The more you offer, the greater the chance of them agreeing to it. But be careful not to insult drivers though. If you do, they might refuse to deal with you anymore in this negotiation period.
Okay, right, so drivers are motivated by more than just money. Many drivers will not consider moving to a team if they do not have their required facility levels, a proven track record, or a car that they can compete in. When you approach a driver, they will give you a list of their demands and let you know which you passed and which you did not. You only have time to negotiate with 3 different drivers each day. When multiple teams are interested in a driver, they will all be bidding against one another. The team with the highest bid when the timer runs out is the winner. If teams stop bidding for an extended period, the negotiation may end early. If you take a driver from another team, you'll have to pay a buyout on top of the salary if negotiations are successful. If no other teams are interested in the driver, you can propose a figure to them. The more you offer, the higher the chance of success. If they turn down your offer, you can approach them again the next day if there's time, but you'll need to offer more. Be careful though, some drivers may walk out of negotiations if they think you're wasting their time. Right, so approach accepted. So he's looking to he's interested. So Nick De Vries has agreed to negotiate with your team for a seat. You only have time to negotiate with 3 different drivers in a day. So our team, $6.28 million. The driver demands $2 million. Team acclaim is level 10. The driver demands level 3. So the acclaim is clear. That's fine. We can make an offer of $2.12 million for low risk. $2 million is medium risk. 1.92 is high risk. To be honest, $2 million to $2.12 million that's not a big difference really. So we'll go for the low risk option. Yeah, that was easy. You have successfully negotiated for Nick De Vries to join your team, Minardi F1 team, for the next 8 weekends. Basically gets us to the end of the season. So his contract cost, his salary, all confirmed. Very nice. Should be easy really to sign free agents. It'll be more of a challenge if we decide to sign a current F1 driver. But yeah, there we go. Nick De Vries is now in the car. Dutch driver, of course. And he'll be replacing Luca Giotto. And I'm hoping for some better performances from our new teammate. So Nick De Vries is now in the car. We still have $4.16 million, so we might as well look at the activities, messages, nothing there. Right, so we can do a little activity. Weight training increases the pace of a second driver, and I am going to now spend some time on trying to get Nick De Vries up a little bit. I think he's probably the best driver, if not one of the best in the F2 field. So we can do a weight training for him, which increases his pace stat by 1. Job promotion, filming, chassis team building, sponsor event. But we'll definitely get the weight training in for Nick De Vries. So that's good. Facilities, we have money to spend. We could look possibly at the personnel department. We've got enough money here to do 3.5, 4.5. We could do some of this. So I think we might get the personnel department up to spec 1, but the durability department we definitely need to have a little dabble at. We've got nothing in line at the moment. The durability department's also on good, so we can hopefully get some things done here, although it's going to cost quite a lot. Look at that, to get to level 2. We'll get the level 1s, I think, done with anyway. So this is the energy store durability, 28% failure chance. It will arrive between Austria and the British Grand Prix. So the energy store durability increased. Can we get this one done over here as well? We can, for another 675, again between Austria and the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. So that's 2 upgrades. 567. Can we do anything over here for the powertrain department? 525. 40% failure chance. We don't have enough for that department. We do have enough over here though, and we do need to get our chassis department up to speed a little bit. But I think we'll focus on the powertrain. So this is the spark plug, it's a minor upgrade. 525 between Silverstone and the Belgian Grand Prix, and there was a big gap you can see there between the British Grand Prix and the Belgian Grand Prix, well over a month, I think about 6 weeks there in total. Did we cancel a race between there or not? I can't remember. Possibly, was it Hungary we cancelled between there? I don't know, but there's a big gap there anyway. So a revised spark plug design promoting a more even spread of spark discharge results in superior combustion with the outcome of additional power. Cool. So failure chance 40%, how we know of. And yeah, so we've got 2 durability upgrades and a powertrain upgrade, but neither of them will be here obviously before Austria. And obviously nothing else has been done between now. So as for the vehicle, obviously these units will pretty much, I think, carry these from now, and I might use units number 2 and 1 for the energy store and the electronics in one of, or maybe 2 of the practice sessions at Austria. As for the gearbox, practice gearbox 5%, event gearbox 19%, with 2 of the 6 race weekends completed. So I think we can forget about worrying about the event gearbox basically exploding on us before we complete 6 race weekends. So the corporate side of things, as unfortunately, believe it or not, my TV has decided to suddenly turn off. So here we go, we're back on now. So the corporate side of things then, with the primary sponsor, you can see there, gold bonus $5.5 million just to complete the season. Weekly income of 525. Atlantic still got 105 days left, 126 on Novus, 70 days on whatever one this is, Avanzar or whatever it was. Weekly bonus, basically 75 laps during the race weekend, 30 laps during practice, 50 laps during the race weekend. These are all bringing in plenty of money. As for contracts, we can probably spend a bit of money on driver perks because we need to get Nick De Vries going a little bit.
Become a better driver, both on and off the track. Your second driver will buy theirs with the fee they negotiate over their base salary, but you can buy your own with the team's cash. One of the benefits of being the boss.
Okay, right, so Nick De Vries can buy his own with some of the money that we've given him. We can't do anything here until we're acclaim level 8 for ourselves. So can we get, I don't know, can Nick De Vries spend some of his own money over? I don't know how that works really, but never mind. So the driver market, we've got Nick De Vries in now. Luca Giotto unfortunately is now out of drive. Don't know if there's any other movers or shakers. Doesn't look like it. Everyone's still in the same team unless it gets updated going into the next weekend. Don't know. Anyway, finances, outgoings, quite a lot there for this period because obviously we signed Nick De Vries, but we're still getting a lot in from our sponsors. So the finance history there has taken a bit of a slump, but that is fine. And customization as well, we can change things around if we need to. So for the R&D, we've got some upgrades coming in, a couple for durability, one for the powertrain. Facilities as well. I think we will spend some time on the personnel department possibly after this race and try to get some things going up there as well. Marketing, I think I'll leave for a while. You can see weekly resource points, we generate 160, weekly running costs of 40,000. So we'll advance the time now, and yeah, that's everything done then. So we'll bring the episode to a close. We have very little resource points, as you can see, just over $4 million. $4 million, yep, that's right. We'll probably look to get the personnel department up and running, get all that to Spec 1 after this race. We should have $4.5 million by the time this is done. Get Nick De Vries up and running as well. We're Team Affinity number 10 as well. Things are going okay. We're now going into the second half of the season at Austria, a track I do like. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.